You don't even know what that was. You don't even know what that was, and you're already ready to go to the next video or do the next thing. Good morning. How are we doing today? Editing day. My mom got me this mug, and it's pretty freaking sweet. I'm here to talk about motivation. I'm actually not here to talk about motivation because that's not your problem. You don't have a motivation problem, but rather you have a dopamine problem. Anything that requires very little effort to achieve but gives you just a flood of dopamine is ultimately going to lead to just your downfall. Andrew Huberman talks about this tons, and his whole point about it is that the easier it is to receive dopamine and get this flood of dopamine, it makes it harder to do the tasks that we need to do. Because dopamine is not about being in the pursuit of pleasure. Rather, dopamine is about loving the pursuit or being in pleasure by the pursuit. So it's not necessarily just something that floods your brain and gives you tons of happiness or serotonin or whatever, but it's motivation. That's why I say you don't have a motivation problem, you have a dopamine problem. You're just addicted to dopamine. The problem with dopamine is that when your body is just flooded with tons of it, you start to become addicted to it. And that's where all really types of addiction come from. You know, you get dopamine even from certain drugs and alcohol and stuff, or dopamine spikes, I'll say. So all these things around you that give you dopamine that have been gamified in a way, like TikTok or any really short form content or video games, or even sometimes like these shows and stuff that take up tons of our time, they are created to lock you in, make you addicted to it, and not let you out. But there are ways to fix that. There's ways to get past that. First, you need to log out. And I don't mean just delete social media from your life forever, but you need to be able to separate that. You distinctly draw a line between your life and the internet. We are so connected, it has harmed us in irreversible ways, I think. When you spend more time online and on the internet than you do having true human interaction, your phone becomes more real than anything else, becomes more real than your actual life and the actual interactions you're having in person. Now, obviously, I have social media. Most of my work is on the internet, but especially as a creative, I think you need to separate the internet and work on your phone versus just entertainment. Because especially as a creative, once your dopamine is flooded and your body has no reason to keep going and keep creating things, because it's receiving the dopamine from somewhere else now. So you have to get rid of it. You have to completely really cut yourself off, and you have to acknowledge the fact that it's a problem and that you're addicted to it. And whatever this means for you, if it means you got to go outside and just touch some grass and remember and breathe some air and hear some birds or something, or if you got to delete Instagram for a few weeks, or just start locking your phone in the living room at night. Like I like that. I turned off all my notifications. And that helps me to just try and stay away from it. Don't even get on it, because once I get on it, I'm stuck. And probably so are you. So we really got to reset your dopamine. And this is not like a cut and dry method that's just going to work for everyone. Everyone's a little different. But you need to become ruthless with your discipline. You need to understand how disgusting it is, how they make these apps. You need to become radicalized against short form content. And it sounds like so, I don't even know. The things I'm saying just sound, I guess, radical, but you need to be. I mean, it is a problem and it plagues us. You need to be as against these short form apps that are just sucking your time and sucking your life away from you. And you need to be completely cut off from that connection if that's what it takes. You need to understand that it is taking your brain power, not only focusing it towards social media, but it's taking it away from all the other little areas in your life that who knows what you could be doing. Delete all the apps on your phone if that's what it takes. After like day 4, it'll be easier and easier to just concentrate and to create. Your brain is constantly trying to predict the very next thing that happened. I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure that it's called like error prediction or prediction error within your brain, and that's part of the way that we can create new habits. Your brain is constantly trying to guess what's coming next, and we can throw our brain a curveball by, oh, what's coming next is not sitting 2 feet away from my screen for the next 30 minutes. I'm going outside and I'm going to run a mile because I can, because I have the ability to. It throws your brain through a loop, and your brain is forced to overcome that and even create a new pathway to create a new habit. And you keep hammering that and you keep doing that just for a week. Now you have a new habit. And now the addiction from your phone is gone. 1 week. That's all it takes, really. And I don't want to drag on and on about how bad it is and how easy it is to get away from it, to draw that line. But it's just so important. You have to be able to, and I think it may even be what plagues us the most, especially young men my age. I see it all the time, and I've fallen into it as well. You really have to find a new thing, because this won't be forever. Like, eventually you're gonna come back to social media, you're gonna come back to Instagram or TikTok or whatever, but you need to be able to use it as a tool and not as entertainment. It can't take up all of your time. You don't want to go back to the 6 hours of screen time a day, but we need to be intentional about how we're using our phone. You need to be able to not check on some of these people that you know, or some of these celebrities, or even what's going on the other side of the world, because ultimately it really doesn't matter. If you focus on the little things in your life that you can have a change on, you'll find that your agency to do things and your ability to get shit done is astronomical, and of ways that you wouldn't even begin to understand unless you actually did them. Like I said, these apps are made to keep you in and hold you hostage from yourself. You have to be able to not get on. Turn off the notifications, delete the apps. You have to not even enter the prison to not get locked up. If you don't go to the prison, you can't get locked up. Don't open Instagram, don't open TikTok. Last video, I talked about the 100-hour rule. 18 minutes a day, and you can be better than like 95% of the population or something like that. Insane stat. Now imagine the 6 hours a day that you're spending on your phone. Imagine if you took that away. And imagine if you spent 1 hour a day. Imagine if you went to one-hour jiu-jitsu class every single day for the rest of the year. You would be able to beat up 95% of people that you saw every day. Not saying that you should go beat up there, not that that's even the point of jiu-jitsu, but you would be better than 95% of people at it, just walking around the street. But it comes from 1 hour a day. So really, ultimately, it comes down to how bad do you want to be great? How bad, what is your willingness to do the hard thing? How willing are you to go out there and get rid of the easy dopamine and take on the dopamine that requires effort to achieve? Because I promise you, it is far, far more rewarding than anything else that you're getting. That didn't make sense, but rough episode.